And we're back. 20 years in, and ain't no one doing it better. Welcome to another edition of the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's just after 9 p.m. Eastern. It's still Monday, July 1st, 2024. So happy Canada Day again to all of y'all for the second time. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the yard, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, Tass? Also here on screen, it's the bearded one. It's my top shot hot boy. It's Trey Kirby.
Hey, yo.
Hey.
Hey, yo. And lurking in the background, it's our super producer, JD, and a lot of people this morning when they joined us on the podcast. Maybe they missed it for Sunday's special live show. People were popping for the new intro, which is pretty slick. Though my favorite comment was, there was a whole lot of dunks in that intro for a show called No Dunks. Fair point.
Undeniably true.
A lot of throwdowns. But what an animation. What an intro. Yeah, we're back for our third podcast in Tass. You're usually good at this. What is it? 28 hours or so? We were live on Sunday night. Obviously did one this morning, and here we are again on Monday night.
Well, Klay Thompson just parted ways from the Bay. We had to get back on it.
Klay parting ways down by the Bay.
Yeah, did anybody really want to get on a boat today to I don't know, celebrate or at least honor Klay leaving Golden State?
That does seem like the proper send-off for Klay Thompson. Somebody, him, taking literally to the Bay in his boat, maybe busting a bottle of champagne over the bow before he disembarks, cruising around, taking in the sights, seeing the sunset one last time before heading east down to Dallas. Yahoo.
And what's the biggest lake by Dallas?
Oh, yeah.
Good question.
Or is Dallas on the water? Hey, remember when we moved to Atlanta? I thought Atlanta was on the water. Whoops. No, it's not. Is Dallas the same thing? You looked it up, Tass. What's the nearest lake?
Oh, I did because I was listening to the Ringers podcast about Klay Thompson leaving. And Raja Bell said, I know everyone thinks that Golden State's got way more water around it, obviously, but he follows Sean Marion, and Sean Marion lives in Dallas, and they've got some nice lakes that look like the coast. That's what Raja Bell told me. Then I looked it up, and I said, come on. Number one, I looked at Sean Marion's Instagram account. I mean, there was one photo, and it looked like there was like a house that was like right on the water, so it looked like a cabin. It didn't look all that. It didn't look all that like much like a coast, like a beach. And then I looked it up, and it really doesn't seem all that watery. I mean, it's like Atlanta, I think, is what it's.
It's like Atlanta. That means there's no water nearby.
Well, there's
but there's good bass fishing nearby.
Yeah.
That's why he's going to catch some monsters if he wants to get out in freshwater.
Well, look, we're going to get into it. We're going to unpack it here. Shout out to everyone joining us live here on YouTube. Some of you for the third time in, again, 28 hours. We appreciate that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and review. Klay Thompson, the big news here. He's agreed to a 3-year, $50 million contract with the Dallas Mavericks. Do they have nearby water? We're breaking it down. The deal requires
Ray Hubbard. I have to say the name of a lake. It's called Lake Ray Hubbard. It's got a name, like a person's name. Okay,
Lake Ray Hubbard. Okay. It's a Scientology lake, apparently. But anyway, the deal requires a multi-team sign and trade scenario that sends the Mavericks wing Josh Green to the Hornets and 2 future second-round picks to the Dubs. Golden State also creates a trade exception just shy of $16 million to maybe use in their next move. Is there another move? What are they doing? But let's actually talk about Klay Thompson electing to go to Dallas. Whether the boat comes with him or not, Tass, he will be playing for them. And what do you think of the fit and how this went down here today with Klay going to Dallas?
I always wonder what Klay was mad at. The way he left, the way he may have been upset with coming off the bench this season. He still thinks that he should be respected and loved and paid the way some of his teammates were. Draymond Green specifically. Maybe he's tired of Draymond. I don't know. But I do know that the Mavs get a very good shooter. They have needed a third scorer. That is for sure. He continues to do that. He's a great catch and shoot guy. Luka creates the most catch and shoots in the game. So Klay's going to be hanging and ready to shoot. Now, I do think they get a little better offensively, but I do think they get worse defensively because Klay, like we talked about on our podcast, Trey said that he's likely going to start. I said, no possible way. This team just went to the finals. But I'm on the side now that he probably will start. Now, Derrick Jones Jr. gone. And I think with Irving, Luka, and him starting beside PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, I mean, I think their best perimeter defenders are on the bench. Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes probably, and Dante Exum. So I do think it's different than the team that went to the freaking finals, that turned on in the second half when Derrick Jones Jr. and Gafford and PJ Washington were their 3, 4, 5. So that's interesting to me, how this team is totally different. Offensively, yeah, but defensively, I do wonder. Now, Najee over Derrick Jones Jr., that's their difference. Quentin Grimes now over Josh Green, and now Klay over Tim, if you want to call that, Klay over Tim Hardaway. This team is damn good offensively. But I wonder if they're still going to have that grit. And maybe Klay just in a new start and a new boat and a new lake is going to be great again. I don't know.
Sometimes you just need new water. It's as simple as that. TK, what do you think, man? Are the Mavericks improved after this free agency sort of frenzy here, especially adding Klay Thompson?
A lot of fish in the sea, a lot of wings in Big D now. Because you're right, 3 out, 3 in. And I think kind of the changes will be negligible because it's all going to come down to what Klay Thompson is willing to accept as a role. I think he's at least going to get the first chance to be the starting third guy on the perimeter for the Dallas Mavericks. But there are going to be some matchups where Najee Marshall is the better choice, or they want to go a little bit bigger and bring in Maxi Kleber and PJ Washington guard somebody. There are going to be times when Klay is going to have to be okay going to the bench or taking a smaller role like he had to at the end of his time with the Warriors. Now that he's in a new situation, is he able to take that on and see that as part of his career? We'll find out. But you would have to be confident in that for this to work out for the Mavericks, because Klay is not the same defender he was. I don't know if he's a perfect fit for Dallas's system because Klay is such a good movement guy. And like Tass is saying, Klay's going to get a ton of catch and shoot threes, but he's capable of a lot more. He's got to find the perfect middle ground of doing too much, which he sometimes did with the Warriors there at the end, and also not just standing around on the perimeter waiting for something to happen. That's going to be on Jason Kidd to get the best out of Klay Thompson because he can do more than just wait in the corner.
What's fascinating about all of this is that Woj reported, many others have, that Klay had 4-year offers for more money, but taking less was offset by this chance to win his 5th championship, possibly with Dallas. Obviously, they just went to the finals. They're a good team. They have Luka and Kyrie. They have some, young bigs, and they have talent. And the difference in state taxes. Oh, my goodness. It was great to see state taxes coming back into our lives. And there are not a lot there in Texas. So, wow, this is sort of wild, though, because I thought he was going to go to the Lakers. LeBron was calling him. My gut sort of says they were one of these teams where it was 4 years. I think Chris Haynes was reporting that maybe in the sign and trade possibility of a Lakers-Warriors deal to get Klay to LA, they were offering D'Angelo Russell back to the Warriors. The Warriors like, no thanks, we've got gum. So, this is an interesting wrinkle that it was the 3-year, $50 million deal task and not more years and potentially more money for a guy obviously getting up there in age and who has had previous injuries that took him out for 2 years. I think this part's fascinating from it.
It is fascinating. It's a little Durant-like joining the Warriors, joining a team that just lost in the NBA Finals, and Klay just being, pretty damn close. And maybe he feels a little differently about having his role lessened. As Trey brought up, there are going to be different scenarios where they're going to want a great perimeter defender on the floor. And I know Luka is already working out. There's videos of him doing some chest press. Cool, great. I don't think that necessarily makes him a better defender. Like, look who's starting on the perimeter, and Luka, Kyrie, and him. I just think it's so different from that regard. But maybe the fact that it's different, that hasn't won 4 titles there and has given his heart and soul to the team, makes it a little bit of a different locker room. But it is interesting when you get into the money. If some team was willing to offer him 4 years. When you look back at the reported offer he had 12 years ago to be 12 months ago to be extended for 2 additional years, that's $48 million he would have gotten in that contract versus the 50 he's getting with Dallas. So I guess it wasn't about the dollars with Klay, because he really would have got paid the same money. It's just about how it all went down, how it all shook down with the ownership there. And the ownership was looking towards the future, and it wasn't making Klay the part of the rotation that I guess Dallas will. It sure seems like Jason Kidd's like, everybody else will scrap. You're going to be our guy. And they've put a lot of stock into Klay being great offensively.
Yeah, when you compare it to obviously the extension he was, reportedly offered 2 for 48, then what he takes here, it's not really the money. So it's either, Trey, hey, I don't like how you're handling me and how you're, treating me as a legend to your franchise. It's that, or it's just, and this is the case with some people, hey, I just want a fresh start. I just want to go try somewhere else. And maybe I'm loved a little bit more. Maybe I'm given more of an opportunity. Maybe I think the team is better. There's that part of the equation. The Mavericks are better than the Warriors. That is a fair part for a guy to leave and go to another team. So I wonder if it's a bit from column A, a bit from column B. Who knows? Maybe we learn more. But yeah, he's definitely looking at Dallas as his best chance to maybe win another title. And get the 3-year deal. And maybe start under, alongside Luka and Kyrie.
Well, I think first and foremost, it comes down to, was Klay willing to leave Golden State? And obviously the answer was yes. And to me, the reason that happened is because everybody else got paid. And when it finally came time for it to be Klay Thompson, they're like, actually, we're only going to go in 2 years, $24 million a year. Draymond got paid. Wiggins got paid. Jordan Poole got paid.
Yeah.
Everybody except for Klay Thompson. Now, all of those deals were before the first and second apron came into play. So Golden State can come from a different angle saying, the reality of the CBA has changed, which means we need to get production from our big dollar people. I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in, and that's why Bob Myers decided to take a media job rather than being the GM. Now this is on Mike Dunleavy having to blow it up. When it came time for Klay to pick his next team, I think it did become, I can win more easily with Dallas than I can with the Lakers.
Yeah, it's possible. Like, again, this guy missed basically 2 entire seasons with a torn ACL and a torn Achilles tendon. Still, got back, became a productive player, played a lot of games this past year, which is sort of like gets forgotten. I mean, pretty impressive to play 77 games, a couple years after all those terrible injuries. But like when that was all happening, the Warriors gave him a fat ass contract. And he even said like, damn, man, you just gave a huge deal to a guy who tore his ACL. So there was, of course, respect from the Warriors to Klay. But I guess whatever has happened,
then he went out and won him another championship with the Klay's argument, right? Like, okay, you did it last time. Why not this time?
Yeah. The Mavs are getting a guy that is still a 3-point, elite shooter, whether he's starting, whether he's coming off the bench. Last year was like a down year for him, which is funny because it's still like basically 39%. And the Mavs
9 threes a game. That's something that while watching the finals, we all wanted somebody like PJ Washington to take above the break threes or anybody. And this guy's obviously going to be able to do that.
Well, I think the Mavericks, like across the season, were like one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league, but it did dip after the trade deadline and they made those moves and they started to focus on defense. And this goes back to what you were saying, Tass. Yeah, they add one of the greatest 3-point shooters ever, but is it going to take them down a notch defensively? And that's what they were winning games. That's when they went on the run. That's what they were doing in the playoffs. They were winning games more or not with defense. So, how do you hide him? How does he slot in? And I know he's getting up there in age, so it's unlikely, but like, how motivated is he to sort of stick it to the Warriors? You know what I mean? Like show them I still got something left and I can lock in a little bit more defensively in addition to what I can bring you on the other end and knock down threes. I think that's probably, I don't know. I don't think that's likely because again, he's just after the injuries, he just lost an athletic step on that end where he was really good. And I think he made an all NBA team if I remember correctly, but those days are probably long gone.
Yeah. It is interesting to think about what the front office and the ownership is thinking with the second apron and the money and where it's going, because years ago when they did pay Wiggins and Poole and obviously Draymond, there was the idea that the money would be endless in Golden State. I mean, they just keep winning championships. They build a new arena. But Joe Lacob, I guess, is galaxy brain, and maybe that's why the Celtics are selling themselves here, selling their team, because the money just ain't as easy, I should say, anymore. But at the same time, they are good. They just released a statement on Klay Thompson, and it's basically mentioning all and everything that he's achieved, the championships and all that, Game 6 heroics. And then Klay's legacy will live on forever, and we look forward to the day we can retire his number 11 jersey at Chase Center, where he will join a host of Warriors immortals, including those who helped shape this recent dynasty, himself included. Warriors immortals.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Marvel franchises.
Yeah. I was going to say, was that one good? I can't remember. There's too many of them.
Yeah, too hard to keep track of where they were going with the plot in that one. I think suddenly something came out of the ocean.
So the Mavs offseason so far, to go back to them, out Tim Hardaway Jr., Derrick Jones Jr., and Josh Green, who is going to Charlotte. And Tass, I know you love yourself some Josh Green, but he's gone. In Klay Thompson, in Najee Marshall, and in Quentin Grimes. It is one of these, like, okay, they're sort of just changing some things. I think overall it's better. I think that is a pretty good offseason for a team that just went to the championship. But do you agree or disagree, Trey?
Yeah, I think ultimately it's probably a lateral move. Like, some of the guys that Dallas got are better at some things than the guys they sent out were, but they're going to miss some of the things the old guys did. And mostly Derrick Jones Jr., point of attack, defense, I think. That being said, it's pretty easy to see a world where Klay Thompson hits a monster shot off a pass from Luka Doncic and they're screaming in each other's face, drool flying everywhere. It looks disgusting, but you're loving it because it reminds you of the good old days with the Splash Brothers. That's maybe a higher ceiling with Klay Thompson out there just for the way he can catch fire and take over for a quarter. But, you know, over the course of 82 games in a regular season, it probably plays out about the same way. The Western Conference, with the way teams are beefing up, some teams going down a little bit in the standings, once again, it's going to come down to matchups, just like it did in this year's playoffs.
Tass, do you have a favorite Klay Thompson, like, memory of him with the Golden State Warriors? Game, funny anecdote, you know, performance, whatever. Does anything like immediately pop into your brain? Because this is the end of like an iconic player, of course. We've covered this league for a long time. He's been there the entire time, and now after 13 seasons leaving with the 4 championships. But what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, when you said the moments, you know, you think on the court, but there's lots of funny moments too. I mean, on the court, it's probably 2016, Game 6, able to bring his team back to beat OKC in that conference final. I mean, there's so many. The 57-point game. It's like there's lots. But then just signing toasters and just, you know, being Klay, like China Klay was a thing because he had so much fun in the offseason. So, you know, both sides, man.
Yeah, on and off the court. I was sharing on Twitter. It's like, oh yeah, remember when he was on local television news in New York City commenting on scaffolding? Just giving his thoughts on scaffolding in New York. It's a pretty funny moment. So he now goes to the Mavs. But man, 518 wins in the regular season and playoffs for the trio of Curry, Klay, Draymond Green. That's like 6th most all time. They have nearly 100 playoff wins with those 3. That's the 3rd most by a trio. 6 finals appearance, 4 championships. You know, that's tied the 4 championships with Duncan, Ginobili, and Tony Parker for the most titles by an all NBA trio over the last 50 seasons. It's iconic. It's an iconic trio there in the Bay. And now one of them's gone, and it's going to be weird seeing the Mavs play the Warriors. It just is. And it'll be fun as hell. And I hope they make it a opening week game or maybe a Christmas Day game. I'm not sure, but it'll be one of the marquee games, Trey.
Gotta be a Christmas game. Seems too good to me. Klay Thompson coming back to the Bay. I would have to imagine they do it in Golden State for that one. So maybe they can open the season as well. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. Going to be weird. And I just hope that Klay Thompson does get to have some moments with Dallas rather than it just being, you know, the end part of a guy's career that we don't really think back fondly on.
Yeah. Let's talk about this angle of this whole Klay going to Dallas too. Now that he's off the board, what are the Lakers' options? Tash, do you have a thought on this?
No, as Trey was saying about the Western Conference teams and how it's all shaking down, the teams that lost guys, like the Clippers losing Paul George, obviously the Warriors losing Klay, they are just grabbing these little parts, these little pieces to help them out. And it probably ain't going to be enough. And that sure feels like what's going on with the Lakers. The name that's out there, it's still DeMar DeRozan. That's the one that's the most exciting. I stop and I hesitate when I say that because I automatically think, will this team be one of the best teams in the Western Conference when DeMar DeRozan, if DeMar DeRozan joins them? I still wouldn't take them over a bunch of several teams in the Western Conference. So yeah, it's becoming like the Warriors and Lakers just don't seem to have it, along with the Clippers. They just seem like they are on that second tier now.
Yeah, so DeMar,
third tier, if you want to call it that, with the Warriors especially.
They're a play-in team again. The Lakers right now are a play-in team. LeBron said, "I'll take a pay cut if we can get an impact player," and nobody bit. Like Luka or Klay is choosing to go play in a LeBron James setup. Kyrie Irving is the co-star. There's a big ball handling forward who controls the entire offense. They've got shooters. They've got defense. Klay said Dallas is closer to a title right now because the Lakers haven't done anything yet today, nor really have the Warriors, though they did save things a little bit getting DeAnthony Melton. But yeah, it's been a disappointing start to the offseason, I think, for the Lakers, which is why they have to be in on DeRozan right now. They need something besides bringing in Bronny James with the 55th pick and Dalton Connect wearing the Connect 4 jersey.
Yeah, DeRozan is he's getting down to one of the last names as a potential non-taxpayer mid-level exception candidate that the Lakers could get, that maybe LeBron would be willing to take less for, because otherwise all those guys that he had sort of pitched, hey, you get a Valanciunas, hey, you get a Klay, hey, you get so-and-so, maybe I'll take the pay cut. And it's like, nope. So we're down to DeRozan. There are other shooters like Gary Trent Jr., Buddy Hield, like nothing that's really going to move the needle all that much, that maybe the Lakers could sort of salvage this. But yeah, they basically, once they sign LeBron, they got their 15 guys too. That's the whole other part. They would have to package some of those guys together to create an empty roster spot. So it's very disappointing, especially when we saw LeBron saying, hey, I'll do this if we can improve the team. And they haven't tasked. But let's get to the DeAnthony Melton signing. 1 year, $12.8 million. He's going to the Warriors. You excited by that at all, Tass? After, of course, they lose Klay, and look, they might not be done. They're still trying. I know a lot of Lowry Markkanen sort of trade rumors. Could they put together a package for him? But what do you think about Melton?
I do think the Philadelphia 76ers would like to have him. He is a guy who has the perfect playoff type of guy you can just fill in. But then as far as the Warriors go, this team is a team that is going to definitely be all about Steph Curry, because beyond that, what is there? There's Aaron Wiggins, who has become a totally different player. And there is the potential of Jonathan Kuminga.
Andrew Wiggins. You got the wrong Wiggins.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Did I say Aaron Wiggins at this time of night? Maybe it's because the shows are 29 hours apart. But really, it's Wiggins, Kuminga, and Pods. That's it. And so, no disrespect to Draymond Green, but I'm talking about this team that is supposed to be rallying around together. It ain't going to be DeAnthony Melton that brings them up into this different stratosphere. I just said Aaron Wiggins. Think about the team that he's on in OKC, in Minnesota, and obviously Denver still has to be respected, and Dallas. They are in it's a different world. And Golden State, I mean, I don't know what Steph's feeling over there, but it can't be good, because this is going to be a pretty bleak time for him. I mean, it's really as bleak as it was when he first joined the team, when it was a different era. It was like him and Monte Ellis. It really hasn't been this bad in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think, TK?
Yeah, I think Melton is a kind of a fine save for losing Klay Thompson. They literally are getting 2 second-round draft picks back for Klay Thompson. I was surprised that they didn't want Josh Green back in the deal for Klay Thompson. This, the way with Josh Green ended up in Charlotte, I thought that Josh Green would be okay, next to Steph Curry. But yeah, this team isn't good enough right now, which is why they have to hope that they can come through with some kind of Hail Mary for Lauri Markkanen. Doesn't seem likely to me, but at this point, the Warriors and the Lakers are running out of ways to get a lot better with these stars that are in the late prime years of their career. If you want to make one more run at a championship with either Steph or LeBron, the teams they have around them right now just aren't good enough, and the players that are available probably don't take them over the top.
Yeah, and it is funny that they're both, like, in a weird way, jockeying for that position and maybe guys to make the move for, or even like, hey, no, we don't want to send you Klay Thompson because that's going to help you. Or this idea that we've heard for a while, Draymond Green eventually teaming up with LeBron and stuff. We don't want to do that. That's going to help you, hurt us, and all this. Yeah, this is like depressing if you are a Steph Curry fan. This has been a brutal free agency. Like, they've got nothing. I'm sorry, DeAnthony Melton, he's fine. I know he was injured, so you can almost like throw away this last year, but like he is defensively he's okay, but he is not that good. He's not a scorer by any means. He's
just a guy.
There. He's just a guy. He's fine if he's like your 8th or 9th guy, but like I think he's a little overrated personally. But anyway, they got him here. It's a very obviously short deal. It's a cheap deal. I get that, but yeah, is stuff going on behind the scenes? Are they talking to Steph like, hey man, we're at the end of this. We'll try and get you to somewhere. I don't know. Would that even be considered? There's the Draymond Green
sons you want drafted?
Yeah. Yeah. How old are your kids? I mean, are they good to go? Yeah, I've seen them chuck it from deep. Let's get them in here. Yeah. It's just sort of sad that this feels the way it's going. And I guess, I don't know, they come into next season. You hope Kuminga pops, you hope TJD pops, but that's just far-fetched to the point where you can compete, like you said, Tass, with all these other teams in the West. I just don't see it.
No, I do not see it. And I guess they were the only team that was willing to offer $12.8 million for DeAnthony Melton because, I am looking back at the Sixers and wondering if I over-evaluate DeAnthony Melton because there's some good times, and he is a 41% shooter from three, but because they're paying 3 guys the max, beyond that, it's Oubre making about $8 million at the highest level. Then going downward, it's Paul Reed, Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon, and Ricky Council. So that's it. That's all they have. And so I do think they would have liked DeAnthony Melton, but I guess the Warriors outbid him. Yeah, outbid the Sixers, and you would think that there is something else in the works if they're willing to pay DeAnthony Melton, or maybe they're just like thinking that maybe it'll happen, 5-6 months from now before the trade deadline. That's what it feels like for Dunleavy. They don't have it right now. That's for sure.
Look, there's no doubt Wiggins suddenly turning into an absolutely atrocious contract hurts the Warriors in trying to trade him. They just like gave up on the Chris Paul of it all. They're like, you know what? Just waive him. We don't find something that we like. And it's like now they're just in this sort of like tough spot here. I'm with you, TK. You hear the Lauri Markkanen rumors. It's like, for what? Like what? I mean, they don't even have all that much draft capital like to throw at the Jazz. And even then, like, I don't know, is Lauri Markkanen going to be like the game changer to like save the Warriors? I don't think so.
I mean, I like Markkanen's fit with a lot of teams, and he would obviously be great on the Warriors as a big who can shoot and just gets a lot of 3-pointers up. He thrives playing in a 5-out system. They would do something similar, I think, in Golden State. But also he's the guy that literally every team that's a contender right now is interested in. And a team like the Thunder, if they wanted to, they could easily beat a Warriors offer. The Houston Rockets, if they wanted to, could beat a Warriors offer, something like that. So it just doesn't seem likely to me that there's a deal to be done with the Jazz for Markkanen, unless there's somebody that Utah really likes, like if they're big Kuminga backers. But if the Warriors are serious about trying to win a title, like everybody should be on the table trade-wise, except for, I'm sure, Steph and Draymond. And, Draymond just because he's a Steph guy. But Steph isn't like putting a ton of pressure on the Golden State Warriors front office the way that LeBron has throughout his career. And that makes you wonder how the things are going to end here? Is it going to be like, Kobe Bryant on the Lakers, where the team is just trying to win 41 games and come out to see the Steph show? There was fun moments for Kobe during that era, but not all of them.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I tweeted, hey, if this is sort of the Warriors iteration here, Steph, go for 101 points in a game next year. Like, that should be literally, they should just lean into like the hilarity of like, hey, Steph, shoot a 3 every time down the floor. 93-point attempts in this game. Let's go get that Wilt Chamberlain record. I mean, it does. It feels like that, but he's like still so good. Like Kobe was at the end of his career. Like, this was the end of the line. This is still, Steph is like a top 10 player, I think, still in the NBA. Right? I think he's borderline top 10 player. So it's like you still want to like put guys around him that can give him a chance. And like he gets to it just like LeBron, like, hey, get me to the playoffs, man. And you got me, and we always got a chance to obviously win 4 series. But right now, this has been a really, really rough sort of off season here, or free agency period here for the Warriors. Any final thoughts on that?
From just to play devil's advocate, this team obviously underachieved last year. They were not a playoff team, but a huge part of that was just Draymond Green not playing because he couldn't stop getting suspended over and over and over again. Choke one man, call a referee something inappropriate another time. So the devil's advocate play is, if he plays all 82 games with Steph Curry, this team literally could be a playoff team, I guess, because they will play with some tenacity and some heart. But he's not reinventing Andrew Wiggins, and I don't know what he's doing with Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Podziemski. They still have to make another big move. But I guess all that to be said, I guess they still think they're one player away, which I guess could happen, but doesn't seem that way.
That player will not be Zach LaVine. I'll tell you that much. All right, let's move to the Celtics here. The Celtics had a busy day, man. Holy crap. They are locking in Jayson Tatum on a record deal, finalizing a 5-year, $314 million super maximum contract extension with the team through the 29-30 season. The deal, once is finalized, will be the largest in NBA history. The specific figure, it's an estimate based on the future salary cap. But you see here, Bobby Marks with the graphic of all graphics, dropping just rubber band cash.
Coins.
Yeah, and bags of cash and coins. But he will be the first $70 million player in all likelihood in NBA history once you get into that final 29-30 season. The Celtics weren't done, obviously. They signed Derrick White to a 4-year, $126 million contract extension. They gave it a lot of money here today, TK. None of this is surprising, but it's still funny to see those numbers. I got to be honest. When you see them on a screen.
Yeah, I mean, a $70 million a year contract is pretty wild to see. And I mean, after we've seen the way that the Paul George negotiations went with the Clippers, how things ended with Klay Thompson and Golden State, to see both of these teams basically being like, we got to be careful with the second apron. We got to maintain flexibility going forward. The Denver Nuggets lost a starter from a championship team. Everybody is cutting payroll to maintain flexibility. And then the Celtics come into today and said, we have an awesome top 5 players, so we're going to sign all of them to contracts that total nearly $1 billion. Unbelievable stuff. That's one way to team build. You got deep pockets, pay for your team. That's incredible. And then sell it to the next guy who actually has to pay.
Here's what you do. You give out basically $500 million worth of contracts today for the Tatum and Derrick White. And then you turn around immediately and say, we will be selling this franchise for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 billion. That's just smart business right there. But Tass, thoughts on Tatum, thoughts on Derrick White, and if you want to obviously chime in on the surprising news that they are for sale in theory, the Celtics, at least a majority stake.
Yes, it is crazy to see those numbers for Jayson Tatum. And I guess the owners went to him after Jaylen Brown won the finals MVP. And they said, yeah, don't worry about not winning finals MVP. We're going to pay you a cool $300 million very, very soon. And then we're going to sell the team because, we peaked. We won a title. And then we're going to just go make some money after we spend all the money. So Yeah, kind of out of nowhere that Wyc Grousbeck decided, from our perspective anyways, that maybe he was thinking about for a while. But yeah, listen, I love Bobby Marks' design there. The simplicity of the graphic, just keeping it simple. But we see every single dollar and how much Jayson Tatum is going to make. I wanted to go a little bit further because they do get paid every second week through the from the beginning of the regular season to the end of the regular season. Let us know how much this $71,446,914 is divided into his 20 checks or whatever it is. Now it's even.
I mean, we are knocking on the door of a guy making $1 million every time he plays. Every time he plays a game, there'll be a guy making $1 million. Like, I don't know, Shea could be close, I guess, in theory. As this continues to go. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, something crazy just happened.
Basketball Reference just started playing Greek music.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
We're looking at Nick Calathis' page.
Well, I was looking at how bad DeAnthony Melton actually shoots. Is what I was looking at. But wow, that was weird.
I thought there was like a little rocket taking off. That's what I heard. I heard no Greek music.
Oh, maybe you didn't hear it, Trey. I don't know what you were hearing then. Anyway,
I just heard a little.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like a.
Oh no! Literally, like it was like. That's what started playing in my cans. It was Basketball Reference. I don't know why they wanted me to smash a plate or something for the Celtics maybe being up for sale. But yeah,
that's my
Wyc Grousbeck. Go ahead.
That's my ringtone. So maybe my ringtone just came on.
Oh, interesting.
No,
that's good.
Just kidding. You saw Giannis dancing those cool Greek jerseys. Those Greek jerseys look amazing for their pre-Olympic tournament.
Did they play yet?
Money. No, it's tomorrow.
Okay.
It all starts.
He was dancing to Kendrick's, not like us, was he not?
Yeah,
I think he was.
Yeah,
he was pumped. So Wyc Grousbeck, the majority owner and governor of the Celtics, expected to remain team governor through 2028, according to the statement that the Celtics released. But a majority interest of the group is expected to be sold in 24 or early 25. This does have a lot of people raising eyebrows after what went on with the sort of Cuban in the Mavericks, sort of saying he was going to be the governor, though he sold his majority stake, but then seems like he's not. But maybe he is. It's really sort of confusing. And then of what's going on with Minnesota and sort of that Glenn Taylor and Alex Rodriguez and Mark Laurie sort of deal. So we'll see here. Anyway, the point is they bought this team, the Boston Basketball Partners Group. What a name, founded by Grousbeck. They bought the Celtics for $360 million in 2002. And what I'm seeing is it's evaluated at least $5 billion. I think it would get more than that personally. This is one of the most storied franchises in all of sports. So yeah, I guess they're selling high, TK, if this is for sale.
It's going to be like $8 billion. And they won 2 championships in the time that they owned the team.
Yeah, right.
So at the end of it all, they're like, yeah, let's go crazy. We'll pay everybody.
Yeah,
Money never stops. All right, see you guys later.
Yeah. But that could, in a weird way, that could diminish your, I guess, total evaluation for the franchise. Like some new owner's got to come in and be like, how much are we paying in tax?
Excuse me?
We got $1 billion roster? What?
Jaylen Brown, see you in Atlanta.
Yeah, eventually. We had some other notable signings today. Let's get to the guys. I'll just lump them all together, going to other teams. We had Delon Wright going to the Milwaukee Bucks. 1 year, basically $3 million, maybe a little bit more than that. Drew Eubanks going to the Suns. 2 years, $10 million. Excuse me. He's going to the Jazz. I have that wrong. Take that off the screen. God damn it, Elder. Drew Eubanks is a game changer.
Some sicko is just absolutely furious right now.
Flaming me. Hold on.
Eubanks going back to the Suns? No way.
Damn it. There you go.
Plumlee.
Nice.
Eubanks going to Utah. Nick Batum going back to the Clippers, obviously returning to LAC. Any of those intrigue you there, Tass, from guys moving here today?
I do like.
No.
I do. I know I can. I definitely have something else I want to talk about in the Eastern Conference. But quickly, Nick Batum back to the Clippers. Yeah, they should go get Nick Batum again. Drew Eubanks to Utah. They need another white guy, I guess. And Delon Wright. You love Delon Wright, and they do need defense on the perimeter in Milwaukee. So that's a good deal for him.
Yeah, I got no issues with that one. They probably should have got him last trade deadline. So that's fine. Yeah, it's obviously super, super cheap. Maybe he comes in, backup minutes, gives you the defense. He's the king of deflections, David Aldridge called him. Put that on his basketball reference page. I love it. He's everywhere, man. Long limb guy. But TK, any thoughts on these three?
No.
Okay.
Nah, well, you guys nailed it. You said all their names.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say something.
I even said Eubanks going to the wrong team for a second.
His spot is taken by Mason Plumlee in Phoenix.
That's right.
I guess they wanted him over Drew Eubanks. Didn't want to pay him $5 million. But I do think something's important for Evan Mobley in Cleveland, because Kenny Atkinson, as the new head coach, his first press conference talked about Evan Mobley and how much they got to do for that guy. Because I know we went into this offseason, Trey thought maybe they're going to trade Donovan Mitchell, that he would be unhappy with where they're going. Well, Kenny Atkinson has got a mission for that team. And Evan Mobley, he said, I do think we can schematically get the ball in his hands and more. It's going more in multiple ways, even bring the ball up the floor in transition as a ball handler in 5-out situations when the Cavs spread the floor with shooters. What does that mean for Jared Allen? Featured in pick and rolls, his general usage can go up, and we have to figure out the best positions to put him in. I can't wait to get on that task because I know that's a big, big part of this. And that is right, Kenny. Just imagine Evan Mobley unleashed. I don't know what it means for him and Jared Allen as two guys that are in such similar spots on the floor at times. So that's interesting to me. But Evan Mobley's got to be better. He's got to do more. And for him to say his general usage can go up. Never heard it called general usage, but it's totally true. He just needs to be better. So I do want the Cavs to be better, and I think it starts with getting more out of him and Garland, obviously. But Mobley's just way better than that.
Well, one team that with actually signing Donovan Mitchell. No news of his extension yet, right?
No news of his extension. That's right.
That could have came out immediately, and it hasn't yet.
Well, one team that they're going to be battling too, obviously had a first round series with that went to 7 games, is the Magic, and they did some work today, keeping 2 guys. Gary Harris, 2 years, $14 million. Goga, Bitadze. I know Knicks fans were pissed. They're like, damn, we could have maybe got that guy. That could have been a nice little backup for Isaiah Hartenstein leaving for the Thunder. But he stays for 3 years, $25 million. Both those guys staying with the Magic. Also have Aaron Holiday returning to the Rockets on a 2-year, $10 million deal. Garrett Temple returning to the Raptors on a 1-year deal. Luka Garza returning to the Timberwolves on a 2-year deal. TK, either on the Magic guys, keeping these guys, and sort of what they've done with the KCP that we've already talked about on the earlier podcasts. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm a big Goga Bitadze fan.
You are.
To see a team take a gamble on him. I mean, the Bulls could have gone for this exact same contract. They chose Jalen Smith. That's smarter. He's younger, but Goga is like a solid third center who occasionally starts for you. The Magic played pretty well when he went into the starting lineup. The guy was supposed to be like a stretch 5. Now instead, all he can do is grab offensive rebounds. Pretty weird, but he's got a very, very heavy beard, very high contrast, a very high motor. But Mo Wagner opted out of his deal with the Magic as well, assuming he's going to be returning to the team on a raise. I think he turned down a $3.5 million deal. They're going to be paying a lot to a bunch of backup centers, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's true. They got a lot of bigs still there in Orlando. No doubt about that. But Goga was good. I mean, you were talking him up during the regular season. We talked more about this guy than any other podcast because he had really good moments and he was playing well for them. But it's a pretty good little payday there for him, I thought. And then I was a little surprised with Gary Harris, I guess, coming back after the KCP, who I just said was a better version of Gary Harris, who's bigger and stronger and better, but. There's still minutes off the bench tasks. So they're running this crew back with KCP, really. Yeah,
I was surprised to see Gary Harris come back, though. Yeah, I guess they are running it back. I'm sure Goga is going to start at center at times because he was that good. And he will be playing for Georgia in this pre-qualifying tournament as well, starting tomorrow. So I'm sure he'll start for that team. But otherwise,
I would hope so.
Is that
Garrett
Dave
Temple.
DeFore's call? He's the one who draws up the starting lineup cards.
Wow,
better
that's a
believe
deep
it.
cut. That's a deep cut right there.
Garrett Temple getting a contract with the Toronto Raptors. I mean, that guy is old. One of the oldest players in the National Basketball Association at 38, getting another contract. Good for him. Garrett Bartholomew Temple. Great name.
All right, so that's basically all the news, unless Woj or Shams or anybody else has tweeted anything of note. We're sort of now we're into DeRozan and some of these other shooters, like I said, maybe the Lowry Markkanen deal if the Jazz. I assume Danny Ainge is asking for the goddamn farm for Lowry Markkanen, and people are like, oh no, Danny, man, that's a lot, man. We can't do that. So I don't know if he'll come down off of that, but that's what we're waiting on. Again, third podcast in about 9 hours here. So we'll wait to see what the next big move is or big signing. But obviously wanted to jump on, talk about Klay to the Dallas Mavericks, and to talk about the Celtics, not only going up for sale, but these big fat deals that they threw at Tatum and White to sort of run it back. And what do you think about the Warriors? What should they do? What should the Lakers do? Let us know in the comments. You're letting us know in the stream team right now. We'd love to see that. So do that. Hit the like button, subscribe, podcast listeners, 5-star rating and review. Before we go, let's do a quick tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Yeah, tweet of the night is from Dylan Hornick, and it just made me chuckle. And it's a bit of a meme, a little Breaking Bad meme here. We got Jesse saying, "Did you see who negotiated the Hartenstein deal?" and we've got what? Yeah, it was Aaron Mintz and Drew Morrison of CAA Sports. Apparently, they were up all night into the morning negotiating with Sam Presti. Crazy shit. Jesus, what the fuck are you talking about? In response to Jesse there, Breaking Bad. Made me laugh because we were joking earlier about all the love for the agents and who was breaking it, who was getting
Big
that. Big
shout out to the agents.
Man. Oh, every Woj tweet had a secondary tweet with that agent news and who delivered it and the man's name. So
love to read the name Mark Bartelstein. Number one.
All these names. We got Mintz. We got Bartelstein. Morrison. We got them all. So anyway, that made me laugh. Good stuff there from Dylan. Tass, you like that part when you get the breaking news here from the guys?
Yeah. Aaron Mintz is a good name. It's catchy.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah, I just Googled it. It's just because of a tweet of the night. He's now in my Google history. Aaron Mintz.
Heisenberg, a little confused with Jesse talking about Aaron Mintz getting that Hartenstein deal done. All right, let's call it there. We're getting loopy. Too many podcasts in too few hours. Thanks again for joining us live. Do all what you got to do to play your part. We really appreciate it, though. We'll be back when it calls for it. And until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, Lowry Markkanen may or may not be traded. Who knows? But what about this? Maybe I'm getting loopy. John Collins. What about John Collins in Utah? Somebody's going to want him. Somebody's going to want him. If they can't get Lowry, maybe the Lakers will say, hey, we're running forward. Our 3, 4, 5 is Johnny, Anthony, and LeBron.
Somebody's going to want him.
Oh, man.
They don't want him.
Somebody's going to want him.
You think like if they were like, hey, LeBron, good news, man. We got John Collins. You still cool with taking that discount? He's like, nope, deuces. See you later, son. All right. Embrace the day,
Tom
people.
Collins?
Embrace the day.